PHNX Suns pregame show. We're hanging out here at the BetMGM Sportsbook at State Farm Stadium in Glendale as the Phoenix Suns prepare to take on the Denver Nuggets in Game 2.
Let's go.
So, how you feeling?
I don't know how to feel right now. I feel weirdly optimistic.
Do you? That's good.
I do. That's usually not good.
Well, I mean, it's good comparatively speaking to how many Suns fans feel tonight. I know our PHNX_sports Twitter account asked everyone today how they're feeling, and it was kind of a 50-50 split. Some people were feeling really good, like bounce back game coming, we're going to be fine. And other people were like, hey, this is turning into a must-win game here in Game 2, because if we come back down 0-2, we're in big trouble.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that's must win. Listen, you go down 0-2, okay, but then you come back to a raucous crowd. You have home court advantage. You play pretty well at home. And listen, we saw last year in the second round, we were up 2-0. It didn't matter to the Mavericks. They took the next 4 out of 5 and we went home. So it can be done. It's not difficult, especially when you're talking about a team that largely exceeded expectations from three-point range last game, and we'll see if they can continue it today.
And the Suns did not come even remotely close to what they should have been from three-point range. So there's a couple different things that need to change in tonight's game, and hopefully we see it. But before we get into that, just overall, 1 out of 10, where are you at on the vibe scale?
I mean, vibes-wise, I'm probably like a 4. Like, we got our ass kicked the other night, and that is just not a good feeling. So, and, on top of that, we're going to get to this at the end of the show, but DA.
Yeah.
That's the vibe. Right now, that's my vibe right now, and it probably will be for the rest of the playoffs. Like, however DA goes is probably where my vibe is going to be.
Yes. So we have a whole segment dedicated to the big fella, but first, let's share some good news, I guess. The injury report. It's clean again. Good news, everybody.
Yay! We should just skip right past it.
If there's a silver lining, I am going to find it. All right, so let's talk about adjustments, because that is the name of the game here for Game 2. Everyone is talking about it. A lot of it can be done. First and foremost, we'll start with this little nugget of information from Nikias Duncan, who tweeted out the other day, through 3/4 of last night's game, Phoenix was generating 1.25 points per chance on non-turnover possessions. Denver was at 1.12. The issue is that Denver had 17 more cracks at it, 92-75. I'd bet ball control and transition defense will be a major point of emphasis.
You think?
Maybe.
Listen, the Suns have opportunities there. There were several opportunities last game, and Gerald talked about it in his Bourget breakdown, where when they were going pick and roll, they would also bring somebody from the weak side to try and attack, and we weren't looking for that skip pass. Chris Paul was open in the corner a couple times. Instead, we opted to try and force the issue, and you can't do that against a good defensive team. And Denver's a much improved defensive team from where they were 2 years ago when we swept them. So you got to improve in that regard. And Denver really, really, I don't know. It felt like everything was just too easy for them offensively.
Yeah.
You got to play more physical, especially against a guy like Jamal Murray. Their pick and roll was far too easy to execute. It didn't matter if it was Jamal Murray or if it was Bruce Brown. It was just they were finding pigeons on the court and they were attacking them. And so if you're the Suns, you gotta hone in on the defensive side. You got to come with it today. Like, I don't know what Game 1 was. It really irritates me that it's Game 1 of a very important second-round series, a year after you got bounced in 7 games, and you came in and you didn't have the level of enthusiasm and really focus that you needed to in this game. Kevin Durant's not going to have 7 turnovers again. Devin Booker is going to play a little bit probably more assertive, and the ball's not going to stick as much tonight, I have a feeling. So get everybody involved, let the offense flow, and you should be okay.
Yeah, because honestly, in Saturday night's game, it just came down to the basic math, right? Like 17 fewer shots, 14 fewer threes than the Nuggets. And then, like you said, those turnovers, 16 turnovers for the Suns, 7 from Kevin Durant himself. Not likely to see that high of a number from KD again, hopefully. And then offensive rebounds. Offensive rebounds were huge. And the Suns got to clean up on that area.
You can't give the Denver Nuggets 17 more cracks at a score than you have. Like, that just can't happen. And then in addition, the way they got basically the 3-point percentages were lopsided. in terms of how many Denver made versus how many even how many the Suns attempted. That was just ridiculous, and that can't happen again.
See, and that's the biggest thing is it's just the attempts alone. Like, Phoenix is not a 3-point juggernaut. That's not their game. They're middies. They're mid-range assassins. Like, we know this. But that doesn't mean that you can just ignore that 3-point shot.
No.
You have to still make those shots. You have to at least attempt them. And then you've got good enough shooters that some of them will go in. I mean, you pulled the numbers from Book to Murray, and it just kind of showed, like, Book had 27 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists, 3 turnovers, but that 3-point field goal, 0 of 1. Jamal Murray had 34 points, 5 rebounds, 9 assists, 3 turnovers, but that 3-point field goal, 6 of 10.
Yeah, that's a huge difference, and especially when you're talking about a guy like Jamal Murray, like 30-point games don't all look the same, right? And they were 7 points apart, but they're 30-point average guys, right, in the playoffs. But Jamal Murray's buckets were bigger than Devin Booker's. Like, when you hit threes, they make a bigger impact than your twos. It sounds silly to say, but it's true. And
Devin is more than 2.
And Devin Booker needs. I'm not going to say he needs to start forcing threes by any stretch of the imagination, but the Suns need to take opportunities to hit those threes or at least chuck them up when they are wide open.
Yes.
There was far too many times last game where Chris Paul just looked like he wasn't ready for the ball. I don't understand why. They literally will come off a double pick, and the Nuggets would force 2 guys to KD or Devin Booker, and Chris Paul would be wide open. And they pass it to him, and Chris Paul had to get his feet set, so he wasn't ready to catch and shoot. And then he'd hesitate and then try to take it to the hole, and he's just not quick enough to get it to the hole anymore. Like, he has to rely on that fadeaway jump shot. He has to rely on craftiness. And he just put himself in bad opportunities. He's got to be better prepared to take advantage of the opportunities that do come, because the Nuggets are going to force Chris Paul to shoot from the outside and make his money that way, and they're going to force Deandre Ayton to be aggressive, and they think that that's going to play against the Suns' advantage.
Yeah, it's those 2 guys that I think most people are focusing in on, because Devin had an off night by Devin standards, right? But I don't anticipate seeing that again from Devin. Like, it happens. I don't think you can go from how we talked about him in the series against the Clippers to one bad game where he still scored 27 points and think he's just lost everything.
No.
It
wasn't a bad game. It just
it was a B for Devin.
For the game that was played on Saturday night, you needed a lot more from Devin Booker, but you needed a lot more from a lot of guys. And so if you looked at the stat line, you'd be like, oh yeah, Devin Booker, he didn't have a bad game. Like, no, he didn't. He had a good game. But you needed a great game because Jamal Murray had a great game.
Yes. But going back to Chris Paul only had 5 assists. And that's not normal for him, even at this stage of his career. Like, there was a point in there during the regular season where if you weren't the bets, it was 8. 8 was the minimum, right? If you were doing over, under, if you were going, the best odds for Chris Paul was 8 assists. That's it.
I'm starting to feel like in this series, what's going to be a kind of a focal point is who are you going to get more from? Are you going to get more from Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton, or are you going to get more from Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter Jr.?
Well, it better be Chris Paul and DA.
Well, you would think, but last game, Aaron Gordon balled out. And the difference is that Aaron Gordon, out of those 4, Aaron Gordon plays hard all game long. He does not let up. He plays physical. He will bully you. He will be physical with you. And the Suns right now with DeAndre Ayton, you got Ferdinand the Bull out there. You're going to have to piss him off. And even then, sometimes that Tesla motor falls out of the freaking, compartment and it doesn't run at all. So you got to figure out what to do with DeAndre Ayton and his motor. And same thing with Chris Paul. Chris Paul is wildly unpredictable, just like DA is right now. There's no other way to say it. Like, you don't know what he's going to do from game to game. He might give you 30 one night. He might give you 4 the next. Assist-wise, even those have been erratic. That used to be a Chris Paul staple. You get 9, 10, 11, 12 assists routinely. If you go back and look in the last month, there's been a lot of games where it's been single digits, and like less than 8 assists. Like, he has not been as effective as he used to be. And so with those 2 guys being as inconsistent as they are, it makes it really tough for Devin Booker and Kevin Durant to really overcome that inconsistency.
Yeah. All right. So In addition to all of that, another adjustment that a lot of people want to see is less Landry Shamet and more Cam Payne.
I'd like to read this stat.
Read the stats.
All right, this is courtesy of our friend Matt Peterson. He said, per stat head, of all players to play 800-plus total playoff minutes since 1951, Landry Shamet has 884 minutes, has scored the ninth fewest points in NBA history, playing at least 800 minutes. And that list consists of Chris Dudley, Joel Anthony, Reggie Evans, Fabrizio Alberto, Jeff Foster, John Koncak, Eduardo Nahara, and Alvin Scott. Play campaign, Monty. Play campaign.
Yeah.
We need campaign. There's nothing else to say about that.
Monty did say Saturday night when asked about campaign that everything's on the table. Hopefully we see a little bit more campaign. I mean, everyone is clamoring for it. Whether or not it works, I think it's worth at least trying, because one of the big things that was talked about after the game was the pace in which they played. Campaign can help there. The three-point shooting, campaign can help there. Yeah. The assists, moving the ball, campaign can help there. I understand that you want to give Landry Shamet the opportunity to maybe figure it out, play through this lull that he's found himself in, and he's a bigger body, but it's not working. And if it's not working, it's broken, then fix it. You know what I mean?
We're going to get to a point now where the microscope is going to be on Monty pretty hard. And I don't even think we're at – I don't even think it's a stretch to say that Michael Malone can coach the most basic series and still, quote-unquote, out-coach Monty Williams, because Monty Williams' stubbornness to want to play Landry Shamet, to want to stick with his guys and nobody else. You're looking at this Nuggets team. They're trying to force the ball out of KD and Devin Booker's hands. And, it's not going to succeed all the time, obviously. But they want that fourth and fifth guy to beat them. The guy that's going to be wide open all the time is that fifth guy every single time. But if it's Landry Shamet, you got no chance right now. You just don't. You need to try other guys. I just keep thinking TJ Warren is the answer, because he can get you a bucket. He can play physical. He can hit that mid-range jump shot. He can hit the three. I think Monty has missed a severely big opportunity to get TJ Warren some reps and get some minutes, because I feel like TJ Warren could have been the answer in this situation when you needed a bucket, and those two guys couldn't get it for you, and the other two are just, they're out in the middle of the ocean playing tag. These are the guys. That's the guy. TJ Warren is the guy. I wouldn't even say Terrence Ross. I would say TJ Warren, because he can get it at multiple levels.
Yeah, and TJ Warren maybe plays a little bit better defense than Terrence Ross sometimes.
A little bit.
I mean, it's like 1A, 1B, but still. I would give TJ Warren some run. I mean, at the very least, try it.
Yeah.
See if it works. I don't know if he's at that point because it's game 2. It's not do or die just yet. I don't know if we're going to see Monty at that point yet. But when it comes to campaign, I don't see why that is a do or die decision maker type of thing. That's not like throwing it out there and seeing what sticks. Campaign was your guy for a really long time. So unless he's hurt or he's not 100%, which if that was the case, then why take him off the injury report so quickly? Why not leave him on there?
I'm stumped. I'm just stumped. I can't figure out Monty's rhyme or reason to anything right now. I don't know what he thinks. I don't know why. I got to assume it's some analytical thing that maybe I just don't have information on, because there's just no logical rhyme or reason to why Landry Shamet has been playing as much as he has, especially the last 2 games with Cam being healthy. I just don't understand it. I don't.
All right, looking at the starters for tonight's game, Josh Okogie is back in the starting lineup here for game 2. On the Suns side, do you think this is the right move? I think it is. I don't think you need to change it up for game 2.
No, Josh Okogie's just got to play a lot more physical. He's got to bang Jamal Murray. He's got to make it uncomfortable for him. He's got to move him off of those easy pick and rolls. He's got to get up into his space. He can't make it easy. I just felt like the Suns were just kind of going through the motions on defense a lot, too much. You got to play more physical. Mm-hmm. So Josh Okogie, I think, is the right call, but it's only if he plays physical.
I would expect a better game from Josh Okogie tonight than we saw on Saturday. He did speak after practice yesterday, and he seems to have a really good mindset and approach to game 2, because he said one thing that he likes to live by, basically, like an ism of his, is you can't let one game beat you twice. You have to take those lessons, you have to learn those lessons, and then you have to apply them. And I think Josh Okogie is taking this opportunity very seriously. And I guess we kind of glazed over this the other night, but I'm pretty sure that was Josh Okogie's first playoff start ever in his career. Wow. So I'm sure the butterflies were there, also kind of a little bit of getting back into the rhythm in the starting unit after coming off the bench in round one. But I think we see a much better game from Josh Okogie tonight.
I hope so. Because you didn't really notice he was out there too much last game. His energy wasn't really infectious in terms of the outcome of the game. So you want to see more of that. You want to see that from Torrey Craig. You want to see that guy from the bench guys. And listen, Jokic is a problem. You had isolations on Bismack a few too many times, and he took advantage. You got to stick with DA defensively because he's really the only option you have. You can't go with Jock. You can't go with Busy against Jokic. He's just going to murder them.
All right, we have a super chat from Psycho Blue. It's a Basketball Cthulhu one. You want to read it?
Sure. Basketball Cthulhu says he walked all the way to the edge of the seal to watch a bottom 10 worst playoff guard ever be the first guy off our vastly improved bench.
And that was in regards to the Landry Shamet conversation. Yeah. Thank you, Psycho Blue. Basketball Cthulhu, could you throw us a bone, please? Help us out a little bit here in this one. I'm just saying, here's our offerings or whatever it is that you want. We got it for you. All right, let's take a look at what the guys will be wearing in tonight's game. Our jersey matchup, it is the Association Edition versus the Icon Edition. So the Suns are wearing white, and Denver is wearing that kind of a navy, deep blue jersey. What do you think about this matchup?
I like the Denver unis. I just retire the whites. I don't like the whites. I hate the whites.
Always and forever.
Those white jerseys are just awful. Awful.
Who you got tonight and by how much?
I got the Suns by 1.
Suns by 1. Okay. At least you have faith. I'll give you that.
It's hanging on by a thread.
Gerald has Suns by 3. I have Suns by 5. I'm trying to speak it into existence. I'm trying to will us to a good, decent win here. I do not want to come back to Phoenix down 2. I want to split these 2 games in Denver and come back to the home crowd feeling decent about ourselves.
I hope so. I'm going to stay positive, obviously. I really think that these guys have the talent to be able to beat the Denver Nuggets, but they got to play, and they got to play at a high level. What I saw from the Suns in that first matchup was more of just like a regular season kind of vibe, and it can't be like that tonight, man. You listen, from all I've heard from people that have been in Denver watching this game in person. They say that crowd is like they're loud, but it's not really a loud arena.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot today, actually. Yeah. Everyone was saying, in ranking of teams, the Nuggets are maybe 3rd or 4th. Yeah. And that the crowd was into it, but it wasn't like a traditional home court advantage vibe, I guess, if you will.
Yeah, I guess because the arena is kind of really it's a little wider and it's a little taller, that the echo from the crowd is just not as significant. So it just is players don't have to worry so much about that. So that's why if you split and you got to force Denver to come here, this crowd gets loud. Yeah. That arena gets loud.
And it could play into your favor.
Yeah, it could absolutely do that.
All right, what do our friends at BetMGM think about tonight's game? I don't love this one very much.
Yeah, well, they got the Nuggets winning by 4.5. So but they also had the Nuggets winning the first game, but losing the series. But now it's not so much like that.
Not so much. Is it flipped? Has it fully flipped?
Yeah, it's fully flipped.
Yikes. Don't love that. I took the Suns money line tonight because it was a plus 145 when I put that bet down. And I know that we said prior to the playoffs we don't like betting on our team. But
I do have a 10-leg parlay on tonight's game, though.
Do you? Okay, so you did get in on the action.
I did.
Here's the thing. The last time on Saturday when we all came out here, we told you guys, all of these away watch parties out here at BetMGM, you get bonuses from BetMGM, and it's a different bonus every single night.
Yeah, it's not a deposit bonus. It's just a straight up, you get money in your account bonus.
And Saturday night, they gave us $100.
Yep.
So I was like, well, I got $100. I got to put it on something.
Easy money.
So I took the Suns money line tonight. I also took DA double-double, which I'll get into here in the next segment. And I took Book first field goal. Because why not?
Book first field goal.
Book first field goal.
Wow.
It was a plus 450, I think, or 400, something like that.
I have a lot. I have a lot of legs on this one, but I don't really need to go through all of them. There's just a lot. Let me just say this: Booker's got to have at least 35 points, and DA has to have a double-double. If those two hit, we should be good.
All right. Well, if you guys want to join us, every away game of the playoffs will be out here.
Every single one.
BetMGM Sportsbook at State Farm Stadium. So come hang out with us on the next one.
Hopefully this won't be the last one.
Yeah, I know, right? I was going to say that, but then I was like, I don't know. I don't want to say it out loud. I'm not putting it out in the universe.
They're not going to get swept. They're not going to get swept. They're not going to get swept. They're not going to.
Oh,
They're
my
not
goodness.
Knock
on wood, knock on wood, knock on wood. My God. If you have not signed up for BetMGM yet, make sure you sign up and use that bonus code PHNX. There are a few different offers depending on where you live. But for our Arizona audience, you will get up to $100 in bonus bets on your first wager with BetMGM. Again, that is bonus code PHNX. You can check out the show notes for full details. And now you can listen to Shane talk about the disclaimers.
Disclaimer, 21 plus to wager. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in Washington, D.C., Mississippi, Nevada, New York, and Ontario. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369, New York. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, Arizona. 1-800-522-4700, Kansas, Nevada. 1-800-327-5050, Massachusetts. 1-800-BETS-OFF, Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help, Michigan.
All right, so Devin in the chat sent us a super chat, said, Saul, give me that first player method of basket.
Okay.
You're usually good at calling this.
First player method of basket, it'll be a DeAndre Ayton layup or a little hook shot. They will give him the ball first.
You couldn't just go along with my book bet to help me out? You couldn't put some good juju out in the universe for me, Saul?
I just don't think that's going to happen.
Damn. That's messed up.
I'm sorry. Also, Philadelphia's just won. the NBA playoffs are officially flipped on side its head. It's crazy.
It's fun though. It's fun.
It is.
It's been a blast, that's for sure. Hopefully it continues to be a blast in favor of the Suns, because I do not want to be out of the mix of this. But our BetMGM watch parties out here at the BetMGM Sportsbook at State Farm Stadium are also presented by Neutral. Neutral is a vodka seltzer that is phenomenal. It's made with simple ingredients like vodka, seltzer, and real juice. Neutral's light and refreshing taste will show you what a vodka seltzer can be. They've got flavors like watermelon, pineapple, mango, and raspberry. And their most new flavor, their brand new flavor, is orange. And it is live now, so be sure to get your hands on that. You can find them at a local store near you by checking out the show notes for details. On Saturday, we had our friends over at Neutral out here handing out some free neutrals for everyone to try. So I'm just telling you, the watch parties are a lot of fun. So come hang out on the next one. Okay, we got another super chat. This one was from Frank. Frank said, motor? Really? Nope. I run on Tesla battery. And I'm guessing this was about DeAndre Ayton. So let's get into it. So let's talk about DA. First and foremost, Monty had some thoughts on DeAndre Ayton and him needing to ratchet it up.
He would tell you it wasn't where it needs to be. And when you look at the film, it wasn't as consistent. When he plays with force, everything else is, the table is set, if you will. And so he would probably say that he could ratchet it up 3 or 4 levels. But I think the whole team feels that. We all have a bit of personal disappointment. When you play against the best team in the West, why would you not bring it? So that's probably the disappointment we all feel.
When you look at when you look at Ayton, what are the things you look at when you say force? Like, what defines that for you?
A number of things. When he's sprinting down the floor, when he's setting screens and diving hard, when he's on the offensive glass, his crash rate was really low last night. That's not something DA is known for. His crash rate is usually high 60s, even 70%. So his was much lower last night. I think it was the lowest. That's just not DA. DA is a high level, not big, he's a high level basketball. A lot of it for him is when he plays with that aggression and force, it actually energizes the team. We all talked about how we can do a much better job in that regard.
If you're wondering about what said level of force is and effort and crash rate, I can assure you it's not this picture because that's just DeAndre Ayton standing out of bounds on a viral clip that went crazy over the last couple of days because DA literally did nothing while Kevin Durant is trying to battle Jokic down low, and that in itself is a snapshot of the problem of DeAndre Ayton. He can have all the talent in the world, but can't manage to find it where the keys are to start the motor. Like, I just don't get it. I don't understand it. There was a poll that I heard, 98.7 had talked about a poll from another outlet. I forgot what the outlet is. That's why I'm referring to 98.7. But who would you rather have right now?
I saw that.
DeAndre Ayton or Kevon Looney?
Mhm.
And 77% of the people said Kevon Looney because of not only how much money he's making, which is only $7.5 million versus DeAndre Ayton at 30 plus, but he'll get you boards. He will do all the dirty work. He's the kind of glue that you need to be able to facilitate for everybody else. And DeAndre Ayton just cannot manage to think in those terms. And it is frustrating as hell to watch this man play basketball day in and day out and not understand what you're going to get on a daily basis. And it's going to cost this team another playoff run, in my opinion.
And the craziest thing about that vote is the last time when I saw it, I believe there were like 14,000 votes on it. So it wasn't just like a handful of votes. It wasn't like 100 people. It was a pretty substantial pool of people voting on that. Granted, the difference in both of their last games and what people are looking at and feeling right now towards each of them could have come into play here. But I don't know. It just sucks because you have been a huge supporter of DA. I love DA. Like, it sucks so much to have these conversations over and over and over again and not be able to just be excited for what DA can do. We were excited for the potential of playoff DA because we saw that happen, and that was what we were all hanging our hats on. DA steps it up in the playoffs. Playoff DA is a thing. We haven't seen it quite yet.
No.
And I'm really disappointed by it.
We haven't come close to seeing it. And I don't know when DeAndre Ayton's going to wake up and understand that I don't give a shit if Devin Booker and Kevin Durant are dropping 40 apiece every single night. If he doesn't raise his level of play, the Suns are not going to advance to the next round. He has to play better. Shaq called him out today, said you have to play with force. You have to play with energy. You got to play like you damn want it. I don't understand how you can be in a playoff series and know that you're playing against a guy at the level of, Nikola Jokic and just half-ass things. I just don't understand it. The expectation level on DA, and you know what? And this is where I'll go with this in my final thought. He's a max player. He plays like he makes $5 to $7 million a year. That's a huge gap, and it's a huge reason why if this playoff run does not go the way that we all hope it goes, because he doesn't pick up his level of play, he will find himself on a different team next year. I'm almost 100% convinced of it, and I'm pretty sure I know what player will come back.
And we'll get an idea at least then, because there's a couple of people in the chat, and a lot of people have said this since the conversation around DA started. If DA goes to a different team in a different system and is used differently, he's going to ball out. And then there are people on the flip side who are like, this system is good for DA. He should be balling out here. Well, at least we'll get an answer.
Your motor,
and we'll know one way or the other.
A motor is a motor, and I don't know if you can ever change a motor.
Well, that's the biggest thing that I think is so confusing, right? So Jay said DA is showing up today with some strong arm emojis. It's May. So. And I picked DA to have a double-double tonight on the BetMGM app.
So did I.
Because I do think that he is going to have a much better game because of the conversation, the discourse, all the stuff around DA after Saturday night's game. But the question is how can we get that to be consistent? How can we flip the switch to where that's just who DA is without having to have guys like Shaq and Charles and whomever calling him out, without the hopefully closed door conversations of we need more from you, DA. Like, you have to, like, as you go, this team goes right now. Like, you have to show up bigger. Like, how do we just make that consistent with him? I don't have an answer.
It's never going to happen because the pressure and the expectations are immense for him because of his max contract, because he was the number one overall pick. I go back to, if you just watch highlights of DeAndre Ayton at the University of Arizona versus what he is now, it's like it's almost a completely different player. He plays with so much energy, so much bounce, so much athleticism down there. Then he gets to the pros, and he just floats away.
Yeah.
And he just fades away. And I don't know if we're ever going to get that version. I don't think we are. I'm kind of down on DA right now, but I hope he proves me wrong in this game because the Suns need him to ball out tonight. I hope.
And I want DA to play well. Cheering for a dominant DA is so fun.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
So, come on, DA. Give us something fun to cheer for.
And then do it again the next game. And then do it again the next game.
All of these games. Every game.
That's
forever.
that's the frustrating part. That's the part that I get sick and tired of talking about is you just never know what you're going to get. He's a fucking box of chocolates.
All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate you as always. Don't forget to meet us right back here after the game wraps up. Bye.
Hey yo, my lifestyle is retro. Tell the Phoenix Metro. Megas in control and he ain't never gonna let go. PHNX though. Lindsey, Gerald, Espo. Saw past the ball.